Hello everybody, welcome back to the works. Today I have something very special to show you all. This is one of Apogee Locomotive Works' freelance 28-ton box cab kits. These are a really big deal because it's not just a box cab. No, this is a full series of detail parts and kits, different versions of it, all just kind of one series. The idea, I'm not really sure if there's a natural way to explain this, so sorry if I start kind of rambling, but the idea is that there will be various different designs on this freelance Apogee Locomotive Works 28-ton chassis. The kind of idea that Apogee Locomotive Works is a real company and producing locomotives, kind of like Vulcan Locomotive Works or Plymouth. So that allows me to kind of do some pretty interesting stuff, but still make it look like an actual locomotive. This is the 28-ton box cab, as you can see. We have a full interior, or at least, interior detail. We have kind of these ribs on the sides and kind of planking on the walls. We got planked floors, a little desk to do train orders on, kind of like Iowa Terminal number 53. They have another 53 now, but it's at Baldwin Westinghouse. The other one was the interesting one that started at Texas Electric. Anyway, but yeah, that's what this locomotive is roughly based on. The Iowa Terminal number 53. The whole kit just fits right onto a Stanton drive, and when we reach full funding on our Kiva loan, that will be part of this, but more on that. As you can see, it fits perfectly in there, and then you just bolt that down with the nut that comes with the Stanton drive. Put electronics decoder on this side here, maybe a speaker in there somewhere, maybe even under the roof. And of course you got lights there and there. And here is one of the cab roofs. Actually, to best demonstrate this, here's my fully painted one. There, look at that little guy. So yeah, that's one of them. The stock kit itself is going to include the shell itself, of course, the cab roof, yeah. It's going to include 2 separate sandboxes. This one has one sandbox, part of the kit. This is an early prototype. I changed it since then so that the sandboxes are separate. It makes it easier to paint. If you want to paint those like silver or something, you can. Makes it just easier to paint and easier to handle. You want to put multiple sandboxes on or put better sandboxes on, you can do that. So it'll include the shell, the cab roof, and 2 of those little cylindrical sandboxes. And that's the basic kit. And then, I'm not done yet. This is why it's called a series, a kit series. You will be able to get various detail kit packs. So one of them will be an electric kit, and that will include the pantograph mount, the rack, and the pantograph itself. And the problem is, you look through this, well, it's empty. And you could fit a decoder in there, but you'd still not look too good. That's why we include in the electric kit this high voltage rack. You look at a lot of electric locomotives, they have this big center thing that runs with has all the rheostats on it, all the electronics, the resistors, the fuses, well, not the resistors, giant fuses. Not resistors because they have rheostats to control the speed. And all that big stuff. Probably would have resistors in there. So yeah, and that just fits. Oopsie, I should probably put the bolt in there, the nut in there. But anyway, that just kind of sits in there. This one is an early prototype as well. I always work with the prototypes, so it's a bit loose. The The real ones are a bit tight, and you're supposed to sand them to fit. But anyway, that just goes in there, and it kind of makes you be able to see something. It's not a super detailed high voltage rack, but it's enough detail that you'd see through the windows, and it's something that would distract from the decoder being tucked in the corner or the speaker. And plus, it's hollow, so you can fit little extra weight in there. So that will be very handy. This is one of the kits I'm putting a lot of heart and soul into. So, I want everything to be perfect. The early version just fits Katie's that you just kind of press in there. Now, the problem is that stuff got so precise on the production models, and you can kind of just slide it in. No shrinkage at all. So, this is a actual production print right here. And you could see I have these little sleeves with a hole in them. And what that's going to do, you get your Katie coupler, you put it in there, and it'll also, and this kit will include little pegs that you pop in there and on the other one to lock the couplers in. This means that you can easily just take some, instead of having to screw something in, which you really shouldn't screw into resin. It's like glass. Instead of having to deal with that, you just have pliers. You pull that plug out, coupler box slides out. You can do what you need. Put it back in. Pretty easily pop that plug back in. There you go. I also did check this thing, and yes, the coupler height is correct. Perfectly correct. And you might be worried that because it's on a Stanton drive, it's going to flop around. Well, no, as you can see, it's nice and square in there. The lowest feature of the Stanton drive rests on the bottom of the shell, and this chamfer here rests in a perfect chamfer there and there. And then this kind of plastic feature around the screw fits into that little hole and presses perfectly. And that's why I can do this and it stays in there, because that is so perfectly pressed. Not too aggressive, but not too bad. So theoretically, you would never have to screw that in. But of course you can, and you probably should. But that's the electric one. I also have a adorable little gas mechanical one. This would be too big for a gas well, this would be too small for a gas. I don't know. Anyway, this is the same shell kit, as you can see, but there's a little radiator piece there on the front. Let me get that. Here they are. They are separate pieces that you just pop on the front, and there you go. Now it's gas. So there's the front, and I'll get more onto this in a minute, but it's using the same exhaust stack part that would replace the pantograph and the pantograph rack. So there'd just be a little exhaust stack. And taking place of the high voltage rack, a little shroud that would kind of resemble a gas engine and a transmission or generator going down to the truck. So, that would replace this and kind of give something to distract from decoders and electronics, just like the high voltage rack does. So, yeah. Now, these things are freelance, but they are designed based on real manufacturing principles. Like I said, these are based on ITR 53, and I put a lot of work into making them realistic, plausible, And I figured I might as well make a B unit to kind of add to that series of kits. Now this is it. It's on the exact same chassis actually, and then is just a B unit. So you got this shrouding around it, and you can kind of see there's the grill, or the radiator, sorry. And you got all these access panels here with little vents on them. And yeah, it fits Katy couplers again, same principle, little sleeve in there, pin. And I'll show you how nice this little guy looks with the wheels in. There you go. Now, I have a bit of a problem with it. It's too perfect. And if my current issue with it, and why is it still a prototype, is because if this was if this was screwed in and the nut on the top is tightened down, you have no way of getting it back open. So I'm not sure what to do about that. I'll figure something out, maybe. Hopefully, probably, definitely. In the meantime, I have a paintbrush that I didn't clean. And we'll just pop that off. To get a look inside, it's about the same. Probably fit a decoder in there and a speaker. And you could probably fit some weight in the frame, which you could probably do with the box cab as well. But all the electronics should fit in there. And there's a little ridge on the inside on each side, which you would simply press the top of the hood on, like so. And of course you could probably go without putting the nut in on this one, but I really do intend to make it possible to get this off instead of basically mechanically locking people out of it accidentally. So that's something in the works still. As you can see, this has a flat pilot still. And this is the latest version. We have little divots. I'm not sure if you can see them, but we have divots that line the front of the pilot and the ends here for putting in handrails and grab irons. So that's nice. Now, I know what you are all thinking. This is cool in HO scale, but this would be perfect in S scale and in O and 30. I am making them in O and 30 and in S scale and O scale. This is a filament printed prototype for the O scale version. It is a bit rough because it is filament. And I had some issues, as you can see, with a horrible layered line shift there, where the print shifted somewhere. Why, I don't know. But as you can see, it's much thinner. And yeah, but that's about it. It's the same locomotive with just a slightly more narrow chassis. So it looks kind of fun bouncing around on a narrow gauge line. In fact, let me get a drive to show you what's so cool about this model. Okay, so this is it. I usually use a 6'6" Stanton drive for this guy, so it has a 6'6" wheelbase. This is a much bigger Stanton drive. I can't remember what the wheelbase is. I can measure it, and I still need to do some work here. I was thinking about printing alternate filament things that kind of help lock the drive in. I'm gonna have to do some serious work on getting this to match and like stay in there tightly. Let me see if I have one that fits better. Sorry, I got one that wasn't drilled out. I got it in now. So that's kind of where it would be. Kind of see, this would be a 2-foot gauge prototype. So it's very small. Yeah. So that's something I need to work out. But what's really cool about this is, okay, so here's the drive. Let's put that in. Look how insignificant that is. And if we look at the bottom, remember this may be O and 30, but this is just one Stanton drive. Let me get a Lokesound Micro V5 that will run this no problem. This is a low sound micro V5. Sound, programmable sound, mind you. Can drive a speaker and this little drive here. We just put that right up against the Stanton drive, or heck, we could even put it in between the drive and the wall of the frame here, and look at how much room we still have. You could put all the electronics in the O-scale one in the frame, and you would have all the room in the world to do interior detail. And you could still pack weight in here after you get the decoders in. So there really is simply a really fantastic model here. Of course, I still got a lot of work to do, as you could see on the resin printed ones I've had of this so far. My biggest issue is severe warping right here, and I know exactly why it's doing that. It's because this is really thick and this is thin all of a sudden. In fact, this is the thickest part here, the pilot, and then it gets thinner because of the steps, and then it gets super thin because of the middle of the frame. So that's something I need to work on, but it's something I know I can just fix with just cutting this out some more. So yeah, I'm going to show you how I'm going to pack the HO ones now, because there isn't much left to talk about on this. Here's a standard gauge one though. But yeah, I'm going to show you the packaging. Alright, so okay, let me say something really clear here. This is a prototype. This is not for sale yet. And these cards are not the ones that are going to be used, because my girlfriend made significantly better ones. It will include the instructions. The prototype info basically just says, oh, it's totally freelance, but it looks cool, and Apogee Locomotive Works made it. We have the cab roof and 2 of the little sandboxes there. And it says what Stanton drive it fits on, which is consistent with all the card designs. And then this is the electric kit, which is pretty much ready to go. This is one that'll be used, probably, maybe, but I'll eventually phase out these cards. But as you can see, it says ALW 28-ton box cab detail kit, juice box electric critter, because, you know, what's a cuter name for a tiny electric locomotive? You know, like, our juice jack was already taken, so juice box, it's a little juice box. So yeah, that's the little detail kit for the electric version, and you'll be able to get these. You'll be able to buy the shell kit itself for a reasonable price, but, you know, realistic for just the shell itself. You can get it with an included detail kit, gas, mechanical, or electric with it, and you may, if this whole funding thing on Kiva thing goes right, a Stanton drive option to power it. Everything you need will be right there in the box. This box specifically, look, I even made a whole colored render of it. So, yeah. I'm really looking forward to putting this thing into production. I actually already am. But as far as the, you know, packaging material and all that, that's still untouched. I want to release the entire series at once, which means I still need to work on the 28 tons in O scale. I need to print these. I need to get them ready for S scale also. And yeah, I got a huge amount of work ahead of me, but I got a really fantastic product in the future to, you know, make up for it. This is something I'm really passionate about, this model right here. And, well, this whole series of locomotive kit. I've really enjoyed working on this, and I can't wait to put it in production. I really hope you guys enjoy this video, and I hope when they're done and ready to release that you'll enjoy the Apogee Locomotive Works 28 tonners. I hope to do more freelance work in the future. If these are a huge success, I need to finish the nuke locomotive still. That was my flagship project, and I just haven't finished it because it needs to be perfect. And this is a great exercise for freelance stuff. But yeah, thanks for watching. Before we go, I said that I briefly mentioned Kiva funding and all that. Yeah. Well, Apogee Locomotive Works is growing significantly. I've had to purchase a whole lot more printers to meet up with demand. I've actually made various improvements to kits. Nothing like detail-wise or cosmetic changes to the kits. Just structural changes to improve print reliability and stuff like that. Small stuff inside. But I've been growing significantly, and this drive, I haven't stocked them yet. And it's because I need funding. You know, I'm a small business, second year in, I'm 19 years old. But I don't have a credit score, so I can't get a loan. That's where Kiva comes in. I was recommended it by my business instructor, my mentor, so it's legit. And I started a loan for Apogee Locomotive Works. It's just a small one, about $1,500, $1,500, you could say. Probably the correct way to say it. But I have 10 out of 10 private funders. The way it works is you have a first period of private fundraising where it essentially, you are responsible, the guy who wants the loan is responsible for advertising it and getting it out there. Because if you're putting the energy and work into advertising this loan and getting it that far, then you must be likely to pay it back because you worked that hard just to get it out. And I've done that. I got it advertised. 10 out of 10 required lenders for the private thing, for the private period of it. And now it is public, which means it's on the Kiva website. Anyone can go and donate to it. I only need like $275 left before this loan is complete, and I can use it to stock a bunch of these guys for these guys. And I'm going to be using it to buy a bunch of resin and spare parts. So that means production will be perfect all the way through. I will have the first kit of Apogee Locomotive Works to include its drive mechanism. And it's just going to be amazing. It'll be the first big push for Apogee Locomotive Works to really get out there. And I did post a thing on my Facebook saying that, thank you for everyone who donated, but I just need a little bit more to fund the whole thing completely. So if you're watching this, take a look in the description, look at the Kiva loan, and if you have like $20 to lend, that would really help get me up there. Of course, since it's a loan, the way it works, it's a zero interest loan, so once I get the money and you do what I need to do, I eventually have to pay it back, and it goes back to you. So it's just kind of like borrowing money as a loan to help small businesses grow. And it's just genuinely amazing. It's great, especially if you don't have a credit score because you're 19 and, you're going all in on Apogee Locomotive Works. So you can't really, But, yeah. So if you want to help me get to where I need to be on this, the link is in there. You can also take a look at ApogeeLocomotiveWorks.com. In the description as well, there's a link, and a bunch of my other social links. Thanks for watching this video. Take care.